Good evening. Good evening. Welcome along. Inspire and be inspired. It's that kind of middle period, right? Between Christmas and New Year. Tuesday evening, as you can see, I am broadcasting from Alicante in Spain. It's just gone 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock for most of you in the UK. I hope you're enjoying your Christmas week. And tonight, I'm really excited to bring a young guest onto the stream to talk about things that are extremely relevant to all of us. And I'm fairly certain they're going to be able to teach one or two of us a thing or two. So I'll start, as always, by welcoming you along, watching live, and anybody coming back for the recording. If you are watching live and you want to leave any comments, make any suggestions, ask any questions, then please feel free. But be aware that we are going to be deep in conversation, so it's going to be difficult for me to stop on the spur of the moment. But I'll do my best to pay attention to what you guys are saying, because it's all about the interactivity, and I appreciate you being here. My guest this evening is a young lady who I've only recently met, but our connection goes back a very, very long way. I'll explain why as I bring her onto the screen and say welcome along to Emily Joeres. How are you? Welcome along.
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm happy to have you here with me. So I'll explain to everybody our connection. Uh, I said I would mention it very briefly, and then we won't mention him again all evening. Uh, I went to school with Emily's father. He's a very good friend of mine. We've known each other for close to 40 years. I recently reconnected with him at the Vocal Booth Weekender, and we had a whale of a time. And I love him dearly with all my heart. He recently shared a link to Emily's YouTube channel, asking for friends to take a look at her videos and to subscribe. And I said, okay. I clicked the link, I went over, I took a look, and I was like, oh, what's this? What's this young YouTuber? What's she got to say? And I was actually quite surprised by a lot of the content that was on there. It was very, the different kind of topic, subject material that I was expecting. And so I looked a little further, I looked into some of her videos, looked a little more deeper into the young lady. And I thought, yeah, I'd like to have a conversation with Emily. Coincidentally, also, a few weeks ago, I was talking to Colin Williams, who was saying how he had learnt a lot from his daughters. They had taught him so much. And I had to bite my tongue while I was talking to him, because I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to be talking to a young lady in a few weeks who I guarantee can teach a lot of us old farts a thing or two. Um, and that's where we're at now. So that was my introduction out of the way. I'm hoping that Emily's going to be doing most of the talking this evening. So once again, I'd like to welcome you and ask you how you're feeling. How has your Christmas been?
Thank you so much for having me. My Christmas is great, really chilled, really nice. Thank you.
Well, I don't know why I'm asking, because I know.
Yeah, you've watched it.
So all throughout December, Emily has done a daily blog, a vlog, a vlogmas that we will talk about. So I think we need to begin. How would you describe yourself? You're a YouTuber, an influencer. Is influencer a negative word, a positive word? Tell me.
I refer to myself as a content creator.
Okay.
I stay away from the word. I don't think there's anything wrong with being an influencer. I personally stay away from that word because I don't intend to influence people so much. So yeah, content creator, I guess.
Okay. So how did you begin on this journey of being a content creator?
I tried to start this journey multiple times throughout the years, but like I'm going back when I was probably like 17, I think I tried to start, maybe 16. Was just very lost, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was watching other people do their thing on YouTube and the lifestyle that they had. And I just kind of thought, like, that's what I want, that's what I want to do, but couldn't really find my niche. Tried to force a lot of different things, tried to force a lot of different video styles. I say force, I guess it was playing around with, but eventually in the first lockdown of last year, kind of found what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to teach and yeah, the content that I wanted to produce.
Okay. So Tell us about that and how it came about.
So again, in the lockdown of 2020, I a bit before we went into lockdown, before this was a whole thing, I was just feeling very lost. I'd gone from job to job. Like I left school, didn't go to uni, didn't really know what I wanted or what I wanted to do, was going from job to job and not any job that would have been a career for me. It was literally just every single job in my head was a stopgap, but I didn't have anywhere else to go. And that led to me feeling a bit hopeless, feeling a bit like I just every day was the same. And I
Mhm.
just knew that it wasn't the life I wanted to live. I knew I wanted something more. And I remembered learning about something called the law of attraction in one of my previous jobs, that at the time it didn't really resonate with me, but I it came back into my head and I was like, okay, this is a way that I can maybe take control of my life and maybe get to where I want to be. And just completely fell into the world of spirituality and the law of attraction, and noticing how much of a difference it made in my life and how much it changed me as a person and how much happier it made me. I then decided that I want to give that to other people and realize that there's so much information out there about us and about our lives and the way we can live our lives that just isn't known. And that was my intention then, was okay, I can teach people my age who I know are feeling this way. I know I'm not the only one who's felt lost at any age, but particularly at a young age. I know I have something to give here. I know I have information that can help other people. And that's why I started creating the content that I do.
Mhm. Well, I saw, I think one of the first videos that I was drawn to, you were pretty much saying all of those words. That was the basis of the broadcast, if that's the right word, of the video. And I thought, wow, this is a wise head on young shoulders. And that can sound a little condescending, really, because, you're a young adult, 22 years of age. You're pretty much the same age as my own daughter. And, I was very, very impressed. And then I started looking at the rest of the videos. You a whole library of meditation videos as well, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah. So last December and this November, I went live every day for the month, just holding a space for anyone to come and meditate live with me. So meditation has completely changed my life. I was always, and it's funny because I was always the person that was like, that could never be me. Like I could never meditate. That would never be my thing. Like was never into any of this stuff until I actually started doing it and saw the benefits of it. And again, for that reason, like I very naturally was able to meditate. It was a natural thing for me. It became natural for me to lead meditations. And so I just started doing it live every day for a month, just held that space. And anyone who wanted to come and meditate during that time to help build their practice, to help make it a habit, that's what we did.
And it was received well.
Very. It was so beautiful. And it just became like a safe space, a sacred space. And I think it just helped people to build the habit of meditation. Like doing that, it allegedly takes 21 days for us to subconsciously build a habit. So doing that for 30 days, it was then like everybody could just naturally carry on and they didn't need me there anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that was the intention, was okay, I'll start with you and then you will go off and meditate every day for the rest of your life.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this became you put all of your energies into this. Um, how were you sustaining your life whilst doing it?
I think it's that. I think without the like that gives me such a buzz, and yes, it's hard, and especially like going live every day and filming every day for 25 days, it was a lot and it was intense. But I think the buzz that gave me and the adrenaline that gave me and that it was just that pure enjoyment, being in that creative flow and enjoying what I was doing so much was enough to keep me going. And I'm always the person that's had a really strict routine, morning and night routine, gone to bed at a specific hour. If I don't get 8 hours sleep, literally don't talk to me the next day. But but doing this has almost snapped me out of those habits and just kind of allowed me to flow a bit more and be more in the moment and yeah, just go with the flow way more.
Okay, well,
And
I have to
yeah.
ask. I have to ask the question: How were you? How were you paying the bills? How were you surviving on a day-to-day basis?
So I do also work with another girl called Sophie who owns a crystal shop. So I go and do her social media for her and help her in her shop when she needs. So that's like my main source of income. And then obviously any time that I'm not there, I'm working on my own stuff.
Because I think it's an important question to ask, so
Yeah.
people don't get the wrong impression that you're just sitting at
Oh
home,
yeah.
just whatever,
Yeah.
waiting for money to fall into your lap. So that's
Yeah.
great, and we will talk about the Sophie and the shop a
Yeah.
little later on. So I've written down a few notes here because there's a lot of content that I don't want to miss. Usually when I talk to people, I'm very on the cuff, on the on the fly, and ask whatever comes into our heads. But I know you've got so many things, and there's so many of my friends who are going to have relatives, whether it's their nieces, nephews, their own children, who they're going to relate to, who probably don't ever get to hear them talk like this. Um, have you ever spoken like this to your own parents? Do you feel that they understood what your journey was and what it is that you do?
Not at all. I think, to be fair, I think my family in general are quite tech savvy. Like my dad's quite tech savvy. And obviously, my dad's all over social media. Like I'm sure most people know that. He's always on Facebook. So all my family have got a decent knowledge of social media. But what specifically I do, I just don't think resonates with anyone in my family at all. I think it's very much I learned it completely outside of anything. I learned it on my own and have sustained it on my own. So yeah, it's never been like a sit down conversation ever.
Right. So what is your perception of Facebook then as a 22-year-old? Facebook's old news. You would never look at it? Because my
I
kids don't use Facebook. They've never used
yeah,
Facebook.
I haven't either. And I think it honestly depends how you grew up. I think I was late to the game on social media, very late to the game. I obviously my dad's when I was younger, my dad was fairly strict in that sense, in that everybody had MSN back in the day when I was at school, and I wasn't allowed it until a little bit later. And then I wasn't allowed Twitter till a little bit later. So I think for the children or my generation that are my age, I think if you started social media a bit early, you probably would have had Facebook. Because I was so late to the game, I just didn't even touch Facebook. And so to me now it's a bit like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's for the
But
granddads.
yeah, no, not even because I know that it's like, and my dad keeps saying as well, like, you're missing a whole other audience of people, which I know. Like, it is like Facebook is so useful. But I think because I was just so late to the game with social media in general, it was just never a thing for me. It was just never something that resonated with me.
So what is the main platform that you focus all your energies? So
I'd say Instagram.
YouTube, you
Yeah.
you load all of your content to, but on a
Yeah.
daily basis, do you get much feedback, much traffic from Instagram? So are you a Snapchat person?
I'm on the
TikTok?
verge. No, wow. The thing is with TikTok, I feel like is the one to go to at the moment. I'm having a TikTok break because it's a lot to take in such a short space of time. But for me, it's Instagram. I think Instagram and Twitter, I just get so much, it's just so much more personal, I feel. And it's
Mhm.
like a there and then conversation. And I'll get people like, I'll post something and get people messaging me straight away. And it's just so much more personal. than I think any other social media platform is.
Well, saying about that, the immediate backwards and forward, I can see we've got several people watching us, but nobody's actually commented yet. So I'm not sure if the chat is working or it's broken. So just one person, throw me a comment in. Just say hi. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know it's all working fine, please. I'm sure that it is. Okay, so your views on social media. One of your videos, you said that social media isn't necessarily the evil person, it isn't the big evil monster. Okay, yeah. So the chat is working. Thank you, Michelle. My wife's just commented. She say it's all working. Thank you, guys. I know you're all listening intently, so thank you. There is no need to comment for the sake of comment's sake. I just wanted to make sure that it was working. Thank you very much. Hi to Nikki and Alan. They say hi to you as well.
Hello.
Right, okay, so where was I going with this? Yes, social media. It isn't the big bad monster that some people make out. Unfortunately, it does expose raw nerves within some of us, right? So tell us your views about that.
So social media, I think, can be completely misunderstood. I think there are absolutely some downfalls to social media, and there's absolutely things to be careful of and things to be aware of. But ultimately, I think social media is such a useful tool, or can be such a useful tool. I think sometimes we forget that we are in control of our own social media and that we have the power and the capacity to use social media in a way that is beneficial for us. I think social media can be looked at as kids being sucked into their phone, nobody being in the present moment because everybody's on social media and everyone wants to post on social media. And I absolutely was in that place. 100% I got sucked into social media in that way. But when I realized that that's where I was, that's when I was able to take myself out of that and actually start to use social media as a resource. It's a resource of communication, it's a resource of education, it's a resource of relationship building. And again, yes, there's the safety aspect, there's the being mindful whilst using it. But ultimately, I think in this day and age, avoiding social media is so pointless.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is what it is. And this is the generation we live in now. And I'm not saying everybody run to Instagram, everybody run to Twitter, make an account right now. Whatever social media platform resonates with you, use it and use it in a way that's beneficial to you.
I think that the problem is my perception. Now, everybody is, they're able to be in your timeline. You can see people's thoughts immediately, and society is pretty much the same as it's always been. It's just so very apparent now. There's a lot of poisonous people out there. There's a lot of negativity out there, and your own timeline will reflect on the people that you spend time with, your social circles. I've said it on several occasions over the last 10 to 15 years. I've built up an amazing community thanks to Facebook. I love Facebook. I've never really been one to say, oh, that's it, I'm taking a holiday from Facebook, I can't take it anymore. I see some people who do feel that way, especially with current affairs, opinions on politics, opinions on, current health, whatever, that doesn't obviously need mentioning. It can polarize society, unfortunately, but those problems have always been there, right?
100%.
Listen to me asking a 22-year-old that. Yeah,
No,
this has
oh my
been
God,
there for
yeah.
years, hasn't it?
For the whole 22 years
Yeah,
that I've been
and again,
alive.
forgive me. At no point do I ever want to sound patronising and say, "No, you're
Oh
only
no, not at
22,"
all.
because you are wise beyond your years, most definitely. And I still want to drive home how you can teach so many of us so many things that we probably about our own kids as well that we might not be aware of that what they're doing. So you mentioned about your job. You mentioned about your YouTube channel. So two parts to this question: who are your biggest influences on YouTube that you have watched their content and they've given you inspiration? And then how did that lead up to you doing your Vlogmas as well?
My biggest, I honestly have, and again, like this is how I mindfully use social media. There are a handful of people who I actually pay attention to. and they are Lior Alexandra, Haley Hoffman Smith, Maren Altman, and every now and again Ella Ringrose. And they are the four people who I go to for everything.
Okay. And
And
are they super famous people? Are they young YouTubers, influencers? Who are they, and how did you find them?
so they're all roughly about my age, apart from one's a little bit older.
Okay.
They are all started on YouTube, and I just found them through. It was almost like I found one, and then they led me on to the next one, and then they led me on to the next one. Like just getting myself, I just got consumed with their content. So all of their content is spiritual or entrepreneurial or about astrology, like all in that kind of realm of things. And I was just so sucked into all of that aspect of this reality, all of those aspects of this reality, that it just became everything I watched. That was all I spent my time doing. And obviously, like I say, one led on to the next.
Down the rabbit hole, so to speak.
Literally fell, yeah, directly down the rabbit hole.
Okay, so I'm going to remind myself to come back to talk about Vlogmas.
Okay.
That will lead me perfectly, what you've just said, to talk about reality. Some of the comments that some of the content that you shared was talking about reality, the matrix that we're living in. Tell us about your viewpoint on that. I'm getting comfortable. I'm listening.
Yeah, okay. So obviously, like, take what resonates. I'm not here to tell anyone what to believe. Everybody's beliefs are their own. I can guarantee there will be people who 100% disagree with me. Just honestly, just take what resonates. But I do believe that this reality is not all there is. I believe that we are existing in a human matrix. So we are souls who chose to have a human experience. And I think there's two sides to that. There's the human experience as a whole, I think, is a matrix. I think we came here as souls to learn and grow and evolve and to just play and to just see what we could do on Earth. But then there's also the other aspect where I think there are certain power structures or certain powerful people who have taken advantage of that and created another form of matrix. So when I say matrix, like I feel like this is why the word gets thrown around and everybody thinks of the film The Matrix. Like I don't necessarily think it's like that. I don't think it's a negative thing at all. I think we are just in a game. Like that's, I think the nicest way to describe it is we are just playing a game as human beings. We're just here to see how far we can push our reality and what we can do with our reality.
Okay, but there will be people watching this saying, "Oh, you've got some living to do, my girl. You've got some
Yeah,
living to
a
do, my
hundred
girl."
percent. And I know, like, again, like, believe me, I've heard this from like everyone. It sounds naive, it sounds ridiculous. And it was definitely something that when I started to learn about it, obviously, like, it was a bit like, that's just incorrect. Like,
Mhm.
no,
But it's not a new concept, you know.
not at all.
You go back 50 years to to the 60s and the 70s. You're saying the exact same thing that people of your age were saying then, and continue to say decade after decade after decade. And the crazy thing is, and I'll say this on several occasions, I'm all up for discussion. I'm all up for debate. You have to be able to sit and listen to both sides of an argument, and be able to say, well, listen, I can't prove you wrong, and you can't prove that you're right. So let's just listen and take on board each other's beliefs. And the way that you delivered that video was really great as well. I was very, very impressed with that. I want to say hi to Amy. I'm not sure if Amy reached out to you. She's a young lady over here, 21 years of age, and there's one of the thing that you said in one of your blogs that really resonated with Amy. She's on her own journey of social media, trying to be a content creator, and I said that she should check you out because I think she definitely learned a lot from you. So
Oh,
welcome
yeah,
along to Amy.
definitely.
Sorry, 20, not 21, almost 21. She's the same age as my son, not the same age as my daughter. So your views on the reality that we live in will also lead us on to your views on manifestation.
Yeah. So I I'm gonna explain this as scientifically as possible
I
because
love the
I
deep
feel
breath.
that, yeah, because again, like I don't ever, it sounds so woo-woo and it's gonna sound so like magical and like witchcrafty, and that's not how I want it to come across because it actually is very scientific. And I think sometimes if we explain it from a scientific standpoint, it almost solidifies it that little bit more. But essentially, like everything is energy, like scientifically, basic physics, everything is energy. We are made of energy, all of our surroundings are made of energy. Literally everything is energy. And like energy attracts like energy. So all energy vibrates.
Totally. I've just been told that the video has frozen. So I'm just going to check and make sure that we're back online. I think we're back online again now. So um, everything that you said was spot on. I'm still recording it, so that's all great. So the energy of abundance, we should be back on that. There's a slight delay. Um, Incredible words, really, and the way that you delivered that. I have a friend who he's an author and he's a coach, and he's 50 years of age. He's written a book. He's got another book coming out, and if he was to deliver those words, people, they would lap them up and with such interest because it's bang on the money. So for you to be saying that, it's you're right on the money, so to speak. So everything that you say is really spot on.
Thank you.
It's really good. So Colin's here now, so everything's fine. Good afternoon, Colin. Also gonna relate to this. So the manifestation and that also will come around to the same. We have a saying, my vibe, my tribe, my vibe. The collective consciousness as well.
Yeah,
You thoroughly believe in that. So you'll be
yeah.
lying in bed thinking about something, and then your friend will call you and say, I've been thinking about going and getting a Starbucks or whatever, and then you'll go and sit in a Starbucks car park and blog for 30 minutes or
Yeah, that's exactly how it happens. That's exactly how it happens.
Okay, so it's all very, so you wouldn't say you're a spiritual person, but it's all very spiritual, right?
Yeah, I kind of do identify as a spiritual person, but at the same time, like, what is being a spiritual person? I think there's so many, like, we are all spiritual. If I believe that we're all souls, in which case we're all spiritual. So I don't think there's like spirituality isn't just one thing. Being a spiritual person isn't just the one thing. Like I identify as a spiritual person just for ease, for the sake of like for people to understand that that's what I'm into, but
Hmm.
I don't think there is such thing as being a spiritual person.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Um, so the crystals and the crystal store. You forgive me, my mind's gone blank. Crystal store, crystal shack.
Yeah, it's the Crystal Cabin,
Crystal
but
Cabin,
yeah,
sorry, of course. I've heard you say it enough
obviously.
times. How dare I? So yeah, so Sophie really looks familiar to me for some reason. Like, she
Really?
really looks familiar, like somebody that I would know. But so tell us about the properties. Sell us the properties of these incredible crystals.
So they all have their own individual properties. And again, it's just about energy. So each of the crystals vibrate, all crystals vibrate at a much higher frequency than we do. So they automatically, like, regardless of anything, they're already more powerful and higher vibrationally energized than we are. But they all do as well have their own individual properties and their own individual benefits based on what crystal it is. So I am not a crystal expert. I am learning as much as I can from Sophie, who is just gradually teaching me as we go. But yeah, crystals, it just like each crystal has its own meaning, its own list of benefits.
Hmm. Cool. There are so many people down the years that I know who preach the powers of crystals. Many people from, I can think of my friend Dave in Australia. So many, I wouldn't even want to try and list them all now. So tell us about your daily. So let's come back finally now. I keep mentioning it about the trials and tribulations of a daily blog. 25 days throughout December. Your Vlogmas content. So tell us about what gave you that inspiration to begin and how that journey's been.
Honestly, that inspiration just hit me out of nowhere, and it's something that I grew up watching when I was 13, 14. There was one YouTuber in particular I liked at that age who did Vlogmas every year. And again, it was just like I would watch it and just be like, that's the life I want to live. That's what I want to do. But for some reason, it just never occurred to me to ever actually do it, which sounds so ridiculous, but it just wasn't something I ever thought I could do. And just this year, because I was working at the Crystal Cabin, it was like, okay, like I have a lot of time for myself, but I also know that Sophie's super supportive of what I want to do. And she loves it. Like she wouldn't mind if I just stuck a camera in the cabin and just filmed the day. Like she didn't care. She loved it. So it kind of just made sense that this was the year that I did it. And then it turned out that like all my other favorite creators decided to do it this year as well, which is again the collective consciousness. For some reason, everybody wanted to do Vlogmas this year. So I do think it was something in the air, which, yeah, the inspiration hit me. And I thought about it for ages, was really unsure about whether or not I wanted to do it because it is a big commitment. And I don't even think I fully realized the level of the commitment until I started doing it,
Mhm.
because it literally was just like you're on camera 24/7. Like you've got to think all day, okay, what am I doing right now? What can I film? And then it was like filming all day, coming home, editing it all night to put it up the next day, and then doing the same thing every day for 25 days. Like it was intense, but the buzz I got from doing that was crazy. The flow I got into was crazy. And it just made me enjoy every day that little bit more, because
Mhm.
it was like, okay, almost like you're looking for things to film. So you're looking for the good parts of your day. So automatically, I'm going into the day like, okay, what can I do that's fun today? What can I do that makes people feel good today? Or what can I speak about that makes people feel good? And it's just that little extra push to make the day interesting.
See, because some people would have the mindset. So, well, that's actually you're forcing that. It's a little bit false. But that's them they're portraying their outlook on life to you. That they're seeing a negative slant on you being positive, which is insane. One of your videos, you mentioned that you'd done network marketing a while back, one of your jobs. I actually also got into network marketing many years ago, and I went to all the meetings, I bought the books, I bought the videos. I didn't spend a fortune. I never made a penny, but what I did do, I gleaned. I met a lot of positive people, and it started me on the down the path of positive mental attitude. So I started to read a lot of books. I'm going back 28 years or so now. So and that, as I say, it opened up the doors for me to just have that much more open view and that positive energy, and that really can rub off on people. So just to hear you say that, it puts a big smile on my face, because you
Oh,
explained it in a really great way. You are looking for every positive moment you can in your day. There will be people who would see that as a negative thing, saying that you'd be false,
yeah.
which is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today, to help explain that, the Generation Z moniker, title that I gave. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought I was going to write down on the promotional material, this millennial, and this millennial, sorry to sound so dismissive. And when I read it, it said, oh no, millennials are like people before you, the age group before you. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that's, I've learnt more. I've learnt more about people's perceptions. I've learnt more about, and I myself, messing around with video editing only recently, even though I've been presenting for so long. I've only been messing around with editing recently, so I know the amount of work that goes into that. I know the amount of dedication, and it isn't it's impossible to try and convey the what you have to do to get that blog to that level. And you're going to be learning all the time. You're going to get inspiration. You're going to give yourself more ideas. And then the next time you'll see a different video, you'll be watching something on the TV, and you'll see the what, you know, a transition or something. You say, oh, I like that. I'm going to put that on my blog, or a font, you know, silly things like that. One of the things
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about, because you and I are both Geminis. You mentioned it in one of your, I've no idea why you mentioned it, but I'm a Gemini. And people who watch me on a regular basis will know I'm always saying I do a walk along the beach maybe twice a week, and I'm just talking to the camera and I'm filming the sea. I don't myself go on the screen, because I say nobody needs to see my face. I don't want to be on the screen. I don't actually like being in front of the screen. But it's a daily struggle, because I'm a Gemini. One half of me thinks, no, I want to be in front of the camera. I want to connect with the people. But I also don't want to be like, oh, look at him. Doesn't he love himself on the camera? And I see so many things there's that internal struggle all the time, isn't there?
Yeah, and that is such a Gemini thing as well. Like, I literally saw a quote about this the other day, where Geminis are always in their head, like they want to talk about themselves, but not too much. But they're only doing it to be able to relate to other people, but they don't want it to
Exactly.
come across like they're not. Like they're
Exactly.
just doing it to talk about themselves.
Oh,
That's such a Gemini
I've
thing.
connected with you so much, even just from you saying that. You
Yeah, no,
validate me.
yeah,
Finally.
completely normal Gemini behavior. Don't worry.
Always second guessing.
Yeah,
It was quite funny. So again, I was chuckling. I thought, isn't this insane how I've asked to bring you on to let others experience, you know, your viewpoint on things, and yet I'm learning so much from you as well at the same time. It's great, and you are definitely teaching yourself a lot of skills for moving forward. Um, have you? Do you have any goals, any plans to take it a step further with your editing, with maybe writing, anything like that? Do you know what's your immediate plan now? Vlogmas is out of the way. What's the next plan? And Amy, I can see all Amy's commenting, so I am reading all of your comments, Amy. Thank you. Obviously, I'll allow you. You and Emily should talk afterwards. So
yeah.
yeah, plans for the future.
Honestly, I think, as crazy as it seems, like obviously I want to grow my channel, I want to grow my social media. I think naturally as a Gemini, I anything to do with communication for me, I'd love to write. I'd love to do talks, anything like that. But I think the biggest lesson I've learned this year is that you can't plan anything.
Hmm.
And I think it's great to have goals. But, and again, like I talked about this loads in Vlogmas, the opportunity to be able to work with Soph at the Crystal Cabin was just so not in my eye line at all. I didn't even know Soph a year ago. I literally met Soph in the summer, and she offered me the job in October. And just that was like not in my vision at all. But it ended up being the most perfect thing that could have ever happened for me. And I think that's taught me something huge this year, that yes, we can have goals, yes, we can strive towards things, but ultimately we don't actually know what's best for us, and we don't actually know what's going to make us the happiest and what's going to fulfill us the most.
Hmm.
So I absolutely have goals to grow my channel. I want to be able to teach what I'm teaching to as many people as possible, but I'm also in a place where I'm like, just kind of see what comes. Like,
Hmm.
I feel that that's what's in my future, but it will come when it comes.
Right, one of your quotes. Well, it's not your quote, but I saw you'd said it. What's meant for you won't pass you by, or words to that effect.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly that.
Let me ask you then about your channel. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone. This is just Emily and I talking now. So I mean, we've shown what an incredible young woman that she is, and maybe what your own kids and relatives are up to on their social. So I think it's been a great insight into that. But now Emily and I are just talking about how we can build our channels. So
Yes.
ignore us. We're just talking. Tell me about and be honest. Tell me about numbers and reach and likes and subscribers. Does it ever get you down when do you get frustrated that you're not reaching enough people?
To begin with, yes, it really, really did. And that's one of the reasons I started and stopped so many times. I would look at my what I was doing before what I'm doing now had no growth because what I was trying to do was grow a channel based off my own personality, which nobody cared about. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody cared about who I was. People wanted captivating content, not me. Like I started my channel vlogging. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see that because nobody knows who I am. When I realized that people want to learn or want value in a different way, that's how I started to actually grow my channel. And that's how as I grew my channel, people started saying to me, like, what you're teaching me is really helping me. Like, your energy is really helping me. And that's when I started to kind of find my feet a bit more because I was like, okay, I had to find what people were actually enjoying, which was not me. Originally, it wasn't me just vlogging my day because I
She
had
says
like,
after 25 days of
yeah, I know,
talking.
no, but I'm so, I mean, again, like huge learning curve. Like I started vlogging when I had like 10 subscribers, and it's like that's not going to grow because I wasn't doing anything interesting. Like I was in between jobs, I had nothing like to show. But I think what I also had to learn was that it's not about the initial numbers at all. It's about how many people can you draw in enough to stay? How many people can you draw in enough to watch the full length of your videos? Because that's what helps your channel to grow. It's not the initial, like, someone could subscribe to you today and just never watch your content,
Yeah.
and then your channel never grows. But when you have to learn that every single one of those numbers is a human being, and you have to be able to connect to that human being enough for them to continue to watch your content.
So
And
like a 50-year-old man in Spain saying, "Oh, this is I got the notification of Vlogmas. Why am I sitting watching this girl in her car outside Starbucks for
exactly.
25 minutes?" And it's like
Literally, exactly.
one of them I thought there wasn't really anything in there for, just being honest,
Yeah,
there's nothing in that one for me. And then the next one comes like, well, I can't not watch it because I might miss something important that she's saying, not because we're doing this interview, just because I enjoy listening to what you've got to say. And so, going in with that outlook is very important, and I totally relate to everything that you're saying, which is why we have a lot of the same people who come back and comment on my videos. They watch them live, and it is very difficult to expect people to commit to you to sit there for
mm-hmm.
an hour and a half, however long it is in one go. But people always come back and they watch the recordings, and they will always send a message and say, "I've really enjoyed that." I mentioned earlier, Colin. I had said earlier, Colin, that you mentioned how much you learned from your daughters, and I had to bite my tongue because I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying, but I already knew I was going to be talking to Emily. So we can definitely learn from all around us, young and old. So talking about the community that you've built and you continue to build, some of you, and unfortunately the numbers don't reflect the quality of a video, whether you've got 50 views, whether you've got 250 views, but there is a correlation to see the increase in interest when the numbers grow. So you do have to use that as an indicator, don't you? But some of your videos, you've got like 2,500 views. How did that happen?
Clickbait is all I can say.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that all my videos that I've done are, and again, like it's finding the balance between, you've got to find the balance between, okay, this video is to grow my channel. This video is to impact the people who are already here. This video is for my community. And it's difficult to find that balance because you want to always produce content that's going to grow your channel. Like your instinct is, I need more numbers, but you also have to learn how to nurture the people who are already there and connect with the people who are already there. So the one that does have, I've got a couple that are like 2K, 1.5K, 1K. literally just like I knew what was going to do well. I just instinctively knew this title is going to grab people. This is what people want to know. This video is going to do well. That is a lot of why those videos are what have grown my channel. As soon as those videos started to pick up and get chucked into the algorithm, that's when my channel started to grow quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's learning that, okay, that person subscribed for that video. How do I keep them here?
Mm-hmm.
What more of this content is going to keep them here?
And from those high numbered videos, I didn't actually look at the comments, or did you get a lot of feedback? Yeah, there was a lot
Yeah.
of comments because unfortunately, as a DJ, a music man myself, I know that people will look at numbers. Oh, I had X amount of people listening to this mix, or we had 1,000 listens to the latest production I just put online. But out of those 1,000 listens, 850 of them listened for 2 seconds, and they were just like, so the numbers don't really make a big deal. As you say, you
Yeah.
focus on the content, and
Yeah.
the people will follow. So I think finally then, so are you pushing towards becoming affiliated, monetizing the channel? Because that was one thing that I wanted to do on my YouTube channel. But I'm a worldwide superstar, and I don't think I've got more than 700 people subscribed to my channel. It's crazy. So yeah, coming back to yourself, you would like to monetize the channel.
Definitely. That's definitely a goal. And like I say at the beginning, like that's what I was desperate for. At the beginning, it was just like, okay, get what you can, get monetized. But yeah, now I'm just at a place where like I'm kind of happy where I am doing what I'm doing, and it will come when it comes. The right people will find me when they're supposed to.
Did it feel unnatural? Because I noticed you had a couple of affiliate links on some of your videos, only on a few. Did that feel unnatural for you to try and push? Because I heard you felt like you were excusing yourself. Oh well,
Yeah.
there is a link there, and I will get a little kickback off
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, a little bit. It does feel a little bit awkward, but I suppose it's just getting used to it. And like, again, it comes with like understanding your worth as a content creator,
Definitely.
understanding that like you're allowed to make money from what you're doing, and you're allowed to push things so that you can make money. And I think, again, like if you can build that solid community, it doesn't matter what it is, people will want to support you and want to buy from you.
Incredible, incredible words. Sitting listening to you, as I say, I'm gonna hook you up with a friend of mine, Mark Wilkinson. I guarantee he will help you along your journey. You may even help him. You never know. You never know. It's crazy. I'm just looking at all of my notes here. I think we've hit them all on the head. We've nailed them. I did say, we could be chatting for an hour and a half, but I think we've covered everything that we really needed to. I think we covered everything that we really needed to talk about. Is there anything that you wanted to highlight? Anything that you wanted to speak out on while you've got the opportunity?
Um, I guess like if you brought me, I think your intention was the social media aspect, I believe. So just in terms of social media, just like not being scared of it and being able to like use it to your advantage, and knowing that you can use it to your advantage, and not necessarily getting sucked into the world of looking at what everyone else is doing and wishing that was your life, but taking control of what you're looking at on social media and allowing yourself to look at things that uplift you and motivate you and inspire you, rather than just a feed of everybody else's life, if that
So,
makes
so
sense.
what would be the first step for someone to do that?
For me, it was just unfollowing everyone.
Right.
Like, I literally, anyone that I didn't have any contact with, I was like, what? Like, I don't, it sounds savage, but we don't speak. I don't necessarily need to know what's going on in your life right now. So it was either a mute or unfollow, or just not scrolling as much as we do, and only looking at, like for me, I only look at the content creators that I know are sharing stuff that I want to see,
Hmm.
not just looking at everything that's there because we feel like we have to be up to date.
like an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody that is with us live and, of course, watching the recording, please feel free to comment. Please feel free to let Emily know what an incredible young lady she is, because she will be reading back all of the comments. Thank you for taking time out of your mid-Christmas week. It's definitely been entertaining. It's enabled me to talk about my Gemini issues, if nothing else. You know, it's enabled me to
A little bit of
understand.
validation.
Yeah, exactly. I need validating, and if nothing else, it's enabled me to put a pin in your journey, so that we can look back in when however long it's going to be, and I say, yeah, I was there at the beginning of that lady's journey, and look where she is now. Because I definitely do think that you've got a long and I wouldn't even say prosperous. I would say a long and successful journey ahead of you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So I have put a link to your YouTube in the description of this video, so people can click through, go and take a look at some of Emily's videos, go and take a look at some of Emily's meditation sessions. And yeah, I'm sure people will be messaging you to say, how can people email you? How can people best contact you? Via Instagram, DMs, or email, or?
Yeah, Instagram, email, anything, any way to contact me will always be in the description of my YouTube channel. So I kind of always direct people to YouTube, and
Mhm.
then all my information's in the description.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I'm going to say a couple of farewells to my community now, and I wish you all the very best for the new year. Thank you
Thank
again.
you so much.
You're welcome. See you soon.
See you.
Bye. Okay, and Emily has gone. I love that. I really, really love that. And just to repeat again, Emily's dad is a dear, dear friend of mine. 40 odd years of friendship, and I'm really, really impressed with Emily. I'm really happy, but I'm sure I did get it across just how I probably would have looked at some of her videos, not knowing her, thinking, who is this person? What are they talking about? But, really, really good. And hi to Vicky. She's saying very proud of her granddaughter. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Jane also saying inspirational young lady. And anybody else that was there, Amy as well. Make sure you get in touch and say hi to Emily, to Colin, and one or two others that were here. So Drew is watching as well. Another incredible young lady who we are extremely proud of and love with all our hearts. I'm glad you were watching that, my love. Okay, so next Tuesday, another conversation. Me sitting here just talking to interesting people about interesting topics. Another couple who I love dearly, and many people know them also. They're going to be talking about living with disability. We are highlighting the everyday challenges and rewards of life when your child is not quite the same as everyone else. Donna and Gary Solomon, two people who we've had in our lives through thick and thin, and I'm going to be talking to them about their beautiful daughter Faith next Tuesday. So do come back and join us then. Thank you again to everybody. I'm just going to scroll down to see if I've missed any more messages. Colin, thank you. Yeah, so what was I saying? Thank you to everybody coming back and watching the recording. Leave a like, leave a comment for Emily to read, and please do go and subscribe to her channel. Cannot recommend it enough. That's me signing off for this wonderful Tuesday evening. Thank you. Andy, you should be proud of your daughter, mate. She's a gem. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Probably won't speak to you again now before the new year. I'll talk to one or two of you from the beach, but have yourselves a fantastic new year, whatever it is that you're doing, and I'll see you next Tuesday. I cannot express my gratitude to you all for being here, and especially all of my Access members who have helped me and continue to help me on a monthly basis to bring you this wonderful